I think you said it all, and we are a little bit short on time. We promised people we were going to have a little bit of time for questions, so we're going to address those, and you're welcome to stay with us and help us answer the questions.
Okay.
The first one is from Carla. She said, I recently saw that MyHeritage has a built-in identifier that can date photos by the clothes of the people in the photo. Is there any plans to add that function to Mylio? And I'm happy to answer that, David, or you can take it.
Well, we have a partnership, I think it's now public, with Family Search,
Yes.
which is the largest organization of its kind. And they work with Family Heritage and a lot of the other more commercial organizations. And they have a unique identifier for every person in their database. And we're going to be linking that to Mylio so that when you see a picture of a person, you'll not only be able to see who they are, like their name, but you'll also have that identifier there, and then you can use that to access information in Mylio, but also in other systems.
Yeah. One of the things that's built into Mylio is what we call smart tags. And smart tags is not something that we cover in great detail today, but you can go both to the manual or to our video training course to find more about smart tags. So smart tags will go through all of the photos in your library and visually identify what's there. And it is a system that we can train to do many, many things. And we have plans to continue training that system, including the ability to look at, a style of car, or style of clothing from a specific era and help you guess what time those photos were taken.
Like, for example, if I want to find all the pictures with beavers, now this is not something I did. I didn't do any keywording or anything like that. I could look for pictures of a vase, pictures with the table in it. Whoops. Okay. So there you see, whoops, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, you're in the folder of the Deerwolf ceremony.
Okay, so do I have to jump up a folder?
Let's go to all photos, maybe.
Just go to the all photos view, David,
Just
and then apply the same filter from the all photos view versus the calendar view.
Yeah, this is my least favorite view because it's for me, it's a big jumble, but okay. So now I'm in all photos by smart tag. Animal. Beaver. Now that might be too slow for some people, but for me, it's more than fast enough. So there's all the I happen to have a lot of pictures of beavers. There they all are. I could look for various types of birds. Black swan, wow. Okay, I do have pictures of black swans. And then if I want to see, if I click on that and I can say, show it in the calendar or show it in the folder that it's in. So I'm going to say, show it in the folder. So that's, was taken on a trip to California, Carmel in California, and so on. And if I back out, I'll see that folder is in a folder called California trip. So you're just seeing various ways of organizing things, but those smart tags, they're all automatic. So if I go back to hey, Dion, I can still search through all the folders if I'm at a high enough point in the folder hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just back up. Come on, wake up.
David, I'm going to answer another question while you're doing that. So we have the question, what is the consequence of deleting smart tags? And really, there is no consequence other than that information is lost. Smart tags are not applied to the photos directly. It's information that lives in the Mylio catalog. In other words, it's in the database of your application. If you go to a particular photo and you delete the smart tags that were recognized for that photo, then that information is gone. However, you always have the option of select one or multiple photos and ask Mylio to rescan, and then the software will be able to add those smart tags again. So there is no consequence, but there's also no reason to delete tags unless the tag that you find is incorrect. You know, this is a computer trying to identify things visually. Sometimes it's going to get things wrong. So if you go to a picture of a horse and it says camel, you can delete that smart tags and that picture won't come up next time you search for a whole horse again.
Oh, this is interesting. So I'm looking for balloons and it's showing me all the folders that have pictures with balloons in them.
Mhm.
And if I keep going in, eventually I'll see the balloons themselves.
Yeah, that's because you're in the folder view.
Yeah,
If
I
you
understand that.
yeah.
Yeah, so those are smart tags. And you can have multiple smart tags. You can look for all the pictures with JC and balloons. I don't know if there are any, but you can do that.
If there aren't any, I'll take one and I'll send it to you before before the end of the week. All right, we have another question, but I think the last part of the question might have gotten
Yeah, something
it
happened to
came-
the last part of the question there.
yeah.
But we
Can
can answer
Mylio
the
do a
first part.
slide? Yeah, can Mylio do a slideshow of a person's face over time? Yeah, actually, that's pretty easy. What you can do is you can go into the people view, sort that view by date, or in other words, chronologically, select all the photos and then ask Mylio to do a slideshow, and they will be presented in that order. You can also add those photos to an album and create a slideshow that way. Jane asks, why do I have empty albums? So an empty album is just an album that you created that you haven't added any photos to. I've done it. I start working on something and then I see something shiny and get distracted and then never put the photos in the album, but that would be the only reason.
I think there might be something we need to clarify there with Jane's question, because she's mentioning albums and folders. They are
Right.
very distinct, different things, although they do look very similar. Folders are the actual containers that hold your photos and files, whereas albums are like a virtual playlist. You can put things into albums and it doesn't duplicate it. It doesn't move it from where it lives on your computer, and you can have a single file in multiple different albums. Folders, though, if you delete something out of a folder, it's deleted. If you remove something from an album, it doesn't delete it from your hard drive, it just removes it from that album. So just want to make sure that's clear. All
For a second,
right.
so I can demonstrate what Angela was talking. So a folder is the place where your files actually live. I can go here to the Galapagos 2006 folder and go to underwater, and there'll be photos of sharks and dolphins and other animals here. That's where I go to find the photos that I took of a dolphin or other marine life for that particular trip. But I also have albums that are virtual collection, and I can go to the turtles albums, and here I have all the photos of turtles that I've taken all over the world. I can go to any one of those photos and ask Mylio, show me this in the folder, and it would take me to the folder that that photo was taken, and you'll notice that particular photo of that particular turtle was taken in that Galapagos underwater trip, on that Galapagos trip, and is in that folder. So difference between folder and album, like Angela explained, is a folder is the physical location where the corresponding file lives, and any file can only be in one folder unless you create a copy of the file, which you don't want to do because then you're using more storage. But an album is virtual. It can contain a collection, and the same photo can be part of multiple albums. Thanks for that question. It's something that comes up quite a bit.
And there was another question that I answered, and I just typed in the answer, but it's worth mentioning. Can albums be deleted? And yes, an album, you can delete the album, but it does not delete the files that are in that album, because those are stored in folders on your computer. The album, as JC said, is virtual.
Yes.
Jane, if you have two more involved questions, customer service might be the best way to send those. You're welcome to type them here, but if they're more involved, we may not be able to tackle them today. So it's up to you whether you want to post them here, or if you want to go ahead and just reach out to support. And JC, you want to show her real quick one more time how to contact support through the app?
Yes, absolutely. So from the help menu, which you can access either from the menus if you're on a computer or from the help icon in a mobile device, you can click Contact Mylio Support, and here just click Fill out web form, and that will open up the page where you can enter your question, click Submit, and we'll get that question and get right back to you.
All right, so question here, can you create a hierarchy of albums? So yes, you can create nested albums. But there isn't a way to view those albums as a hierarchy yet. I believe that is coming, and later on will be available through the navigation icon in the left sidebar. But for right now, you can just go ahead and take a look at your albums. Do you have any sub albums in any of those?
I have lots
Yeah.
of albums if you want me to show them.
I have one here. So we do something at Mylio called Picture of the Week, where every time we have our monthly all hands meeting, we all show photos. So my Picture of the Week album, you'll notice that there's an icon here that shows 4 sub albums and 17 photos. If I open that, there's the Picture of the Week album that I've created for every week that we've been doing this. So that's how hierarchical albums work. And you can see that you can create that hierarchy just like you would do with folders, but you're not duplicating your photos and putting them in as copies in multiple places. You're just creating a logical virtual collection.
Yeah, so I have an album called Action, and it just has random things in it. I'll create a sub album for, a trip. I mean, and I'll just assemble stuff. Like when I went on my trip, I had all the visa information, and I didn't want to move it out of the folders they were in, but I wanted to have it all collected. So that's one use. The other use is when my daughter turned 40, which I still find it hard to believe that happened because I think I'm 40, but anyways, I made a book for her, and the book ended up having over 400 pages. Now, that may sound crazy, but if you held the book, it wouldn't sound crazy anymore. So the way the biggest problem with that book is collecting all the pictures. So I had an album called Rachel's Book, and then I had an album within it for decades. And then within there, I had an album for each page. And that album might have had 1 picture, might have had 6 pictures. Some of the pages have 20 pictures, and it was very nice. Like you can put anything in there. So that was definitely a hierarchical set of albums.
Great, thank you. That's a great example.
Christina says she
Christina.
accidentally put an album as a sub album. How to move it
Ah.
out? That's a great
Drag it
question.
out.
JC, do you want to show that real quick?
Sure, I can show that. So here I am in that album with sub albums, right? This Picture of the Week album. I can take this one album and move it. So I can just either move it down to the clipboard and then go somewhere else, like inside another album, and then move it to that album. That's one way to do it. Or you can select all the photos in the album. Let me put it back where it goes. Okay, it's already there. The other way is by selecting all the photos in that album and adding them to the correct album. So I can go here. Sorry, I have some windows in the way that you guys can't see, but I see them. I can select all the photos here and say, add to albums. So I could add them to the correct album and then delete them from this sub album. So 2 ways of accomplishing the same goal. Did I miss a way, Angela?
Pardon?
Did I miss anything there?
No, I think that is how I would do it. My personal preference would be to use the clipboard, but either of those work.
Yeah, the clipboard is super useful and very helpful because you can just drag things there. It's a great way to build an album also, because you can start in a large view like the all photos view and find specific photos, drag them down to that clipboard so that you don't have to remember where they were. So here I can be on the all photos view or even in the search view. I think my computer is a little tired after 6 hours of webinar. It's starting to act up. But you can drag things to the clipboard and from there add them to an album or move them from one folder to another or do whatever it is that you want to do. You can export them to use them outside of Mylio, whatever the case might be. Any other questions we have so far?
That is pretty much it for the moment. If you have any other last minute questions for us, please pop those into the Q&A and we'll get those answered for you today. Until then, until we see any other questions pop up, we can look at pictures of JC's new granddaughter.
Yeah, I'm going to show this
So
as often as I can.
You
David,
can
I
just
don't
leave
think
that
you've
there and
seen
watch
my
all of it.
granddaughter yet.
Wow.
Yeah. Looks like we
So-
might have some questions in the chat. Oh, no, it's just people saying things.
When will the replay be available? So we're going to be sending this off to our video editor. As you can imagine, it's going to take a little while for them to cut and trim and edit a 5-hour webinar. I'm going to take a guess and say this is going to be at least sometime next week that we'll have this available to you. But as soon as we do, you're going to find it in our community. We'll also be sharing it on YouTube. Lori, is there any other place that they should look for that?
Oh, let's see, forums, community, YouTube are the main ones. Yeah. And we'll
All right.
probably be sending out snippets of these videos in our, marketing emails and such. So you might actually see some of these again in your email box as well. So
In the
good thing
meantime,
is-
like oh, sorry, go ahead, Lori.
I was just going to say, the good thing is we're really cutting these videos into the different sections, so you'll be able to view exactly what you want to see without having to go through the 5 hours.
Yeah,
So,
we're not going to make you sit through that.
Yeah.
Just to find that one piece of information that you need. We have one more question that just popped into the Q&A. How do I delete folders of pictures in the new version? I no longer see the trash can.
Well, the trash can is still there. It's right here on the left, on the right edge of the screen. So I selected a folder and I can click on it. You can also right mouse click and use the delete folder option. If you're using a mobile device, you can go to the actions menu, which is the 3 dots on the bottom right corner of the screen. That is available on mobile devices since you don't have a right mouse functionality. So those are 3 ways in which you can delete, but the little trash can is still there. We just kind of moved it off to the edge.
So Jeremy asked, he said, JC mentioned some links that he would share. Did I miss those? Do you remember what links that you were planning to share?
There were the links for how to contact support, and they're all in the app. So you don't need the links. You just go here to the app, and there's the quick start training. There's how to learn more about Mylio photos, the community site where you can find not only our video courses, but also webinars, coffee breaks, both previous and forthcoming ones, and the how-to guide, which is our Mylio manual. So all of those are available there in the help menu. All the links are there. You don't need to remember them. Once you click on them, you're welcome to save them as bookmarks. But since Mylio works on all of your devices, you can always just click here. You don't need the bookmarks.
Yep. And make sure if you haven't already to join our community, that link is also in that menu that JC just pointed out. You'll have access to our fundamentals course, those quick tip videos, tons of articles. You can share photos, you can ask questions. It's monitored by quite a few people on our team. JC and I are both there. Lori's there all the time. And we're happy to answer those questions for you. And then Paul, you mentioned, how do you add Backblaze as a cloud service? I just put that into the Q&A, but I'll paste that into the chat for you as well. There's the instructions. All the training is now for version 24. We've archived all of the older stuff. You still can access the older version of the manual if you absolutely need to. There's a drop-down menu at the top of the manual to go back to the previous version. But everything in the current version that shows up if you go to manual.mylio.com is for version 24. All right.
I do want to say a shout out to Angela and to JC and to Rich for putting together these fantastic videos. They spent quite a bit of effort and time. How many total was that, JC? So like 100.
Well, there's 76 videos that comprise the fundamentals course, but there's another 52 videos, quick tip videos that we also did.
Yep.
So yeah.
That's amazing. Good job, you guys.
It was an intense week in the studio.
It was. It was. We got pretty giddy there at the end.
Yeah, we did. Another question here from Warren. What's the best way to zoom in and out on a device that doesn't have a touch screen and if you don't have a middle mouse wheel?
It's the little slider here, the zoom slider on the edge of the screen. And if you close the info panel, that slider stays there. So you can zoom in with that.
And does that also work when you're in single image view?
Yeah, it
Because
absolutely
there's
does.
there's a keyboard shortcut, isn't there? Like if you hold in this, oh, you just have to have a stop to have a scroll wheel.
Uh,
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a
I
keyboard
think the zoom
shortcut.
slider is the way to go.
Yeah,
I think
I
there
have a
also is
mouse
keyboard
button
shortcut,
program to it, but
and we have
you
a
can
whole
also do it.
chapter. That's another thing we didn't really mention today is we have some amazing keyboard shortcuts. So if you work at a computer and you don't always want to be messing with your mouse, you can get done most things in Mylio just with your keyboard. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into the chat as well. Check out those keyboard shortcuts. There is one in there for zooming, so that'll help you as well. So Diane, let me go ahead and put that into the Q&A for you. Here we go. All right. So we're getting up here towards the end. I want to thank you guys all for joining us today. This has been a lot of fun and we've thrown a lot of information at you. I know that this is a lot to digest, especially if you're new to Mylio Photos. And we're grateful that you're here and that you're checking it out. If you have questions, please feel free to join our community. It's free to join. You don't have to necessarily be a user to join it, but we do love the people who are there and who are using Mylio. Join, ask questions. You can always reach out to our support team as well. We've shared all of those resources, but the community is really my favorite and it's kind of my baby as well. So please find us there, ask your questions, and we will continue to make cool new educational materials for you, keep you guys up to date. And this isn't all, we've got more coming in the future too. Like this is not the end. Like we've got so much going for you guys. Our team, we don't get a lot of sleep. We'll just put it that way. This team works hard.
But we have
there's
fun
all
doing
sorts
it.
of cool stuff coming. So we hope you enjoy this update. It's definitely a labor of love for us. You talked to our CEO, you got a little bit of background on why we're passionate about what we do. So we hope this helps you enjoy your memories, protect those memories. And we'll be around here for a couple more minutes if you have any other questions, but I think that pretty much covers it. JC, Lori, thank you so much for organizing all of this today. David for joining us, and everyone else on the team that was able to jump in and share their knowledge. It's been fantastic. Any last parting words from anybody else?
Just go have fun organizing your photos.
Right.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep it online, like I said here, until the turn of the hour, but let's see here. Another question popped in the Q&A. I see the trash can on my laptop, but not on my desktop. How do I make it show up? Any ideas, JC?
Well, it's possible that they still are running the previous version, which did have a bug on Windows machines where parts of the UI would disappear. So make sure that your software is updated to the latest version, particularly if you're using Windows. And that might be why you're not seeing parts of the UI. You can also try restarting the application because 99% of the time that resolves the issue, but that's likely the problem is that you run into a bug that has already been fixed. You just need to update the application.
The other thing I was thinking is it might be that one of his devices is in guest mode. So if you've upgraded both devices, some devices,
Yes, very
if you've
true.
enabled guest mode in the past, is actually defaulting to showing you the guest space. So if you go to spaces and switch to everything, enter in your PIN code, that should put it into the full version. Because if you're in the guest mode, it's not going to allow you to delete anything.
Up here where it says public for me, it will say guest. So just go to the spaces icon. And if you're in guest, switch to something else. And if you continue to have trouble, you saw how you can contact support. Just go ahead and send us a note and we'll look into the issue for you and make sure it's resolved.
All right. Well, I think that's it, folks. Thank you again for being here. And we hope to see you at one of our coffee breaks or webinars, or at least in our community. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.